lesson is called One Small Square. And this is actually a great lesson for this year, because if you're not able to go on field trips, you can just go outside your school to do this investigation. So this book is great because it gives you all of the instructions to do this activity. It also, their page number shows you what materials you'll need and how to set up your student science notebook. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your students outside and you're going to have them find a square. Usually it's about 1 foot by 1 foot, and they're going to mark it off with flags, and this is going to become their square. So the first thing they're going to do is observe. What do they see? Do they see any animals? Do they see any insects? What kind of plants live there? Then they're going to start digging a little bit in the soil, and they're going to actually get a little bit of soil, and you can collect it in something like this, or you're also getting a container like this that they can collect it in. And you have thermometers, and you're going to have your students take the temperature of the soil. So one of the first lessons you're going to have to do is talking about how to read these thermometers and how long to leave it in the soil. They can't just stick it in and then pull it right back out. So then they're going to be testing the pH of the soil. And so this will need to be another mini lesson that you do before actually doing the pH. So you'll talk about how to read a color chart, and then you'll talk about how to actually use the kit. And so the pH soil kit comes with a test tube like this, and you'll fill it up with water to 10 milliliters. So again, this is another area where you can combine this with math when you're talking about measurement and reading a test tube. So you'll do that. Then you get these little tablets, and you'll stick a tablet in the test tube, and you shake it about 10 seconds. And then you just get a small scoop of soil that's the size of the top of the test tube, and you pour it in there. And then you'll be able to read the pH using that. So using this scale. You'll also look in the soil using magnifying glasses to see if you see any other bugs or insects, or if there's any plants. And your students will write this down in their science notebook. So this is their square. So you can either make this a weekly thing where you go and have your students observe, or you might just want to do it 2 or 3 times a year and have them observe and look what happens at different seasons. Now, sometimes you're not allowed to leave the flags up all year long. I understand that. So you just have a visual of where your kids' squares are that you can use. So we're going to pause this and talk about another activity you can do with the soil that you have collected.
All right, so the soil health is so very important to an ecosystem. And a lot of times, like, you're going to be doing, just like Mary Elizabeth said, doing observations with a magnifying glass to be able to see what living organisms that you can see, but you're not going to see them all. The soil is actually a kind of a biotic factor. The stone itself would be abiotic, but there's so much living organisms that is in soil, and that gives us the health of the ecosystem that we're in. So this is a really great exercise for the kids to understand how much life is in the soil, and it's called a Berlese funnel. Now, what you can do is you can actually cut a liter bottle and then use the top part for a funnel. Of course, my drawing skills are somewhat sketchy, so to speak. But it will be a tighter fit. You will get samples of soil and put the soil samples on the top. You're going to wet or moisten that soil. And then we've gotten you a light, that clamp-on light that you'll kind of attach to some kind of pole or some kind of shelf. And you're going to have that light on top of that soil. Now, in the bottom, and you could also use this as well for instead of the bottom of a liter bottle. you're going to have the heat lamp go on top and keep it on there. Slowly that soil is going to dry out, and the little insects or invertebrates that are in that soil, and you could use mulch or regular soil, they're going to start fleeing to find their way out. Of course, you're going to put a little bit of a filter, okay, that's right here to help filter to keep the soil up. I also put rubbing alcohol at the bottom of my container, and so when these little creatures are not used to the dry and the heat, they're going to go through that screen filter and they're going to drop into the rubbing alcohol. And then you can look at those through a microscope or a magnifying glass and see what kind of diversity of organisms are in the soil that you walk by every single day and had no idea that there was life in there. I hope you enjoy it.